My name is Lily. I'm standing in my apartment, the silence pressing in on me like a heavy blanket. The door has just clicked shut behind Jake, and I'm left alone with the aftermath of our relationship. It's been a few months since that fateful night, but the memories still sting like fresh wounds. I remember that Thursday night like it was yesterday. I'd come home from work to find Jake already dressed, his shirt buttoned, cologne on, and an air of restlessness about him. He kissed my cheek and told me he was meeting some people at a bar downtown. What bar? I asked, but he just brushed it off, saying it was a place near work and not to wait up. And then he was gone. I tried to keep myself busy, reheating leftovers, half watching a show, and folding laundry that didn't need folding. But by 11 o'clock, I went to bed, my mind racing. By midnight, I was still awake, a sense of unease settling over me like a fog. Something in my life had shifted, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it was something bad. At 12:07 a.m. I picked up my phone and opened an app one hadn't thought about in a year. It was a location-sharing app we'd downloaded before a hiking trip, meant for safety in case one of us got lost or service dropped. We'd forgotten to turn it off afterward, or maybe one of us hadn't. My finger hovered over Jake's name before I finally clicked it. And when the map loaded, my heart sank. He wasn't downtown near his work. He wasn't at a bar. He was at a hotel, a sleek, upscale place about 20 minutes from our apartment. I stared at the screen, waiting for the dot to move, but it didn't. My mind raced with explanations, trying to save me from the truth. Maybe the bar was inside the hotel. Maybe it was a rooftop lounge. Maybe he was meeting a group and they chose that spot. But deep down, I knew. As the minutes ticked by, my suspicion turned into certainty. At 2:13 a.m. I couldn't take it anymore. I opened the app fully and used the check-in feature. The app sent a notification to his phone, time-stamped in bright, undeniable digits. 2:13 a.m. Checked in. Then, I turned my phone off and lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, watching the last seconds of my old life tick away. When I woke up, it was quiet. Jake wasn't home. I didn't check the app again. I didn't need to. I got out of bed, made coffee, and moved through my morning like an actress in a scene I hadn't rehearsed. At 8:30 a.m. I heard the key in the door. Jake stepped inside, looking like he'd been through a storm. His clothes were the same as the night before, his hair was messy, and his face was pale. There was a smear of makeup near the collar of his shirt that wasn't mine. He stopped when he saw me in the kitchen, his body freezing like he'd forgotten how to play the role of boyfriend in our home. "Morning," I said, taking a slow sip of coffee. He didn't answer. His bag hung off one shoulder, and his phone was clutched in his hand like a weapon or a shield. His eyes dropped to the screen, and I saw the color drain from his face. "How did you?" he started, his voice trembling. Then he held up the phone, his thumb hovering, as if unlocking it would detonate something. "How did you check me in?" he whispered. I set my mug down gently. "The app," I said. "The location-sharing one, remember? From our hiking trip." His mouth opened and closed, like a fish out of water. "You've been tracking me," he said. "The app's been on this whole time," I said evenly. "For both of us. You could have checked mine whenever you wanted." Jake swallowed hard. "Why did you do that?" he asked. I tilted my head, letting the silence stretch just long enough to sharpen the question. "Why were you at a hotel until 2 o'clock in the morning?" I asked. His eyes flicked away, then back again. "I was at the bar," he said too quickly. "Okay," I said. "The rooftop bar." "Yes," he said. "Which bar?" I asked. He blinked. What's the name of it?" I asked. "The rooftop bar at that hotel." He stared at me, and in that pause, I felt the last thread of trust snap. I don't remember, he said. I let out a quiet breath, almost a laugh, but there was nothing funny in it. You were there for hours, I said, and you don't remember the name of the bar? Jake's jaw clenched. I'd been drinking, he said. I nodded slowly, like I was absorbing information instead of grief. So, you were at a hotel bar until 2:13 a.m. I said, but you can't name it. You didn't come home, and you look like you haven't slept. His eyes narrowed. Are you calling me a liar? He asked. I'm asking you to explain why you were at a hotel all night, I said. I told you, he snapped. I was at the bar. Who are you with? I asked. My friends, he said. Which friends? I asked. He shifted his weight, his eyes darting. You don't know them, he said. I know all your friends, I said. These are new friends from work. I nodded again. Names? I asked. His face tightened like he was about to explode. This is ridiculous, he said. Names? I repeated, my voice still controlled, but harder now. Because something isn't adding up. Jake's eyes glistened, and then he started to cry. But not the soft, sad kind of crying. The cornered kind. The crying of someone whose story is collapsing faster than they can rebuild it. You're being horrible, he said, his voice shaking. I stared at him, and for a moment, the calm inside me turned ice cold. Am I? I asked quietly. Because from where I'm standing, I'm being unusually calm, considering my boyfriend came home at 8:30 in the morning from a hotel. Jake wiped his face with the back of his hand, smearing the exhaustion deeper into his expression. I can't do this right now, he said. I need to shower. He tried to move past me toward the bathroom, like water could wash away the truth. I didn't stop him. I just watched him go, because I realized something in that moment. The shower wasn't for him. It was for the version of Jake who still thought he could come home and reset the story. And I already knew, without a single confession yet, that the story was over. I stayed in the kitchen while the shower ran. At first, the sound was steady, water hitting tile, predictable, almost soothing. Then it shifted louder, hotter, like Jake was trying to drown something out. Guilt, maybe, or panic. I didn't pace. I didn't cry. I didn't rehearse speeches in my head. I felt detached, like whatever had been holding me together emotionally had quietly let go, leaving behind a strange, hollow clarity. When the water finally shut off, the apartment felt too small, too intimate for what was about to happen. Jake came out wrapped in a towel, his hair dripping, his face scrubbed red. He looked more composed, like he'd had time to rearrange his lies. Can we talk? He asked quietly. That's what I've been trying to do, I said. He sat on the couch, the same spot where we'd had movie nights, lazy Sundays, conversations about the future. I stayed in the kitchen, leaning against the counter. The distance felt necessary. I haven't been completely honest with you, Jake said. I didn't respond. I mean, I know you figured that out already, he added quickly. No kidding, I said flatly. He swallowed. But it's not what you think, he said. I let out a slow breath. What do I think, Jake? I asked. He hesitated. That I'm cheating on you, he said. The word hung between us, clean, sharp, unavoidable. Are you? I asked. Silence. It wasn't dramatic. He didn't look away in shame. He didn't rush to deny it. He just paused. And in that pause, something inside me went completely still. I've been seeing someone, he said finally. But it's not. It's not serious, he said. I nodded once. Of course it's not. It just happened, I said. You just accidentally ended up at a hotel with someone at 2 o'clock in the morning, repeatedly for months. It's not like that, he said. Then what is it like? I asked. He ran a hand through his damp hair. I don't know, he admitted. I was feeling restless. Things between us started feeling stale. There it was. The word people use when they don't want to say, I got bored of being accountable. And then I met her at a work event, he continued. We talked. We connected. Stop, I said calmly. He froze. I don't need to hear about your connection, I said. I don't need the meet cute. I don't need the justification. He looked wounded, like I'd taken something away from him. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he whispered. But it did, I said. And you let it over and over again while living with me, while sleeping next to me. Jake's eyes filled again. I never wanted to hurt you, he said. But you did, I said consistently. I'm confused, he said weakly. I don't know what I want anymore. The calm inside me sharpened. You're confused about whether you want to be in this relationship, I said. He nodded. I think I just need time, he said. Time? I echoed. To keep seeing her? I don't know, he said. I stared at him, then really looked at him. This man I'd shared a life with. This person I thought I knew. And I realized something terrifying and freeing at the same time. I didn't recognize him. Either he had changed or I'd been ignoring who he already was. Either way, it didn't matter. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady. Jake looked up. You're going to pack a bag and leave, I said. His eyes widened. Lily, not permanently, he said. But for now, because I can't look at you, and I need space to decide what I want. Where am I supposed to go? He asked. I shrugged. Your parents, a friend, maybe the hotel you like so much. That's not fair, he said. Neither is cheating on your girlfriend for months and calling her controlling for noticing, I replied. This is my apartment, too, he said defensively. And when I've had time to think, we'll deal with that, I said. But today, you need to go. He stared at me like he was waiting for me to blink. I didn't. Fine, he snapped finally. Fine, I'll go. He went to the bedroom and started throwing clothes into a bag. No careful folding, no hesitation, just frantic movement. I stood in the doorway and watched. I didn't help. I didn't cry. 15 minutes later, he came back out, his bag slung over his shoulder. I really am sorry, he said quietly. I believe you're sorry you got caught, I said. That's not fair, he said. Life's not fair, I replied. Neither is betrayal. He didn't argue. He just walked out. The door clicked shut behind him, and the apartment went silent in a way that felt permanent. I stood there for a long time. Then I called in sick to work. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall like my brain was rebooting. My phone buzzed constantly, texts from Jake. Long messages, apologies, explanations, promises. I didn't read them. 3 days later, I changed the locks. Petty? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. That afternoon, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Jake standing there, looking worse than the day he left. Dark circles under his eyes, unshaven, like regret had finally settled in. Can I come in? He asked. Why? I replied. Because we need to talk. Really talk, he said. I considered telling him to leave. Instead, I stepped aside. He sat on the couch again, the same place, the same posture. I ended it, he said immediately. It's over. I crossed my arms. Okay, I said. I told her I made a mistake, he continued. That I want to fix things with you. That what we had wasn't real. I tilted my head. Wasn't real? I asked. He nodded earnestly. Jake, I said softly. It was real enough for you to keep going back for months. I know, he whispered. But I want to work on us. Why? I asked. He blinked. What do you mean why? 3 days ago you were confused, I said. Now you're certain. What changed? He hesitated. I realized what I was about to lose, he said. I smiled faintly. You realized you were about to lose the apartment, the stability, the woman who trusted you. That's not true, isn't it? I asked. Because if I hadn't checked you in at that hotel, you'd still be lying to me. He had no answer. I've been thinking a lot, I said. And I realized something, too. He leaned forward, hopeful. I deserve better than this, I said. His face crumpled. I deserve someone who doesn't need to hit rock bottom to choose me, I continued. Someone who doesn't cheat and then ask for patience. Please, he whispered. You did this, I said gently. Not me. He broke down then, crying, begging, promising therapy, counseling, anything. I waited until he ran out of words. Then I stood up. I'm done, I said. He stared at me like I'd pronounced a sentence. So that's it, he said. It's been it, I said. You just didn't know yet. I walked to the door and opened it. Please leave, I said. He did. And that was the moment I knew. I wasn't heartless. I was finished. After Jake left that second time, the apartment felt different. Not emptier, clearer, like a room after a storm. When the air finally settles and you realize how heavy it had been before. The next few weeks weren't dramatic. There were no screaming phone calls or surprise confrontations, just logistics, the unglamorous aftermath no one warns you about when they talk about breakups. We broke the lease, split furniture, argued politely over things that suddenly felt meaningless. Who kept the couch? Who took the blender? Who owed what? Jake tried more than once to turn those conversations into something else. I've been thinking a lot, he'd say. I know I messed up. I'm really working on myself. I shut it down every time. Not angrily, just firmly. I'm not interested in revisiting this, I'd say. Please stick to logistics. That boundary felt powerful in a way I hadn't expected. My friends rallied around me in quiet, steady ways. They showed up with takeout, texted memes when they didn't know what else to say, let me talk, and sometimes let me sit in silence. One night, after a few glasses of wine, one of them admitted something. We never really liked Jake, she said carefully. He always treated you like an accessory. I laughed, but it stung. I wish you'd said something earlier, I said. We didn't want to interfere, she said. You seemed happy. I had been. Or at least I'd convinced myself I was. A month later, I found out the rest of the story. Jake hadn't just been seeing someone. She was his boss. Married, 3 kids, a walking cliché. He'd told her he was single, that he lived alone, that he was available. When he ended it, when he told her he was actually in a relationship and his girlfriend had found out, she'd been furious, felt deceived. The irony would have been funny if it hadn't been so exhausting. Word got around, it was a small industry, people talk. Her husband found out, then HR got involved. Rumors spread fast and stuck hard. Last I heard, Jake left that job to pursue other opportunities. Translation, no one wanted him. As for me, I moved into a smaller apartment, one I could afford on my own without compromise. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I started therapy, not because I was shattered, but because I wanted answers. Why had I ignored so many red flags? Why had I been so quick to doubt myself? Why had I prioritized keeping the peace over protecting my own boundaries? Turns out, I had a habit of putting other people's comfort ahead of my own well-being. I'm working on that. Jake reached out a few times over the next several months. A text on my birthday, a long email on what would have been our 5-year anniversary. Same themes every time. Regret, confusion, hope for forgiveness. I never responded. There was nothing left to explain. The moment that stayed with me the most wasn't the confession or the arguments or even the breakup. It was 2:13 a.m. That single check-in, the action that unraveled everything. Sometimes I wonder if I hadn't opened that app, if I hadn't checked him in, how long would it have gone on? Weeks, months, years? Would I still be there trusting someone who didn't deserve it? Building a future on a lie? That thought unsettles me more than the betrayal itself. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled it, if I should have tried harder, gone to counseling, given him another chance. The answer is always the same. No. Jake didn't need a second chance. He'd had.